Well, good morning,
Howdy.
afternoon,
Howdy.
evening, wherever you're watching this.
It's morning here
Yeah, but
now.
could be any time they're watching. Dave, Judith, senior pastors of Horizon Church Sutton. This is senior pastors midweek update.
Certainly is.
Question is, how long are we going to do it for? It's been over a year now. Anyway, it's lovely sunshine today.
Who would have thought a year? Who would have thought a year we'd still be doing this?
Well, I did say actually. It will be
All right, you'd have
year.
thought it, but nobody else did. Yeah.
Anyhow, so if you joined us on Sunday or you are going to go back and rewind, we did have a few technical issues, so we apologise for the delay. Dave and I were just sitting there waiting, and the tech guys were doing a fantastic job
They were
working out what was going wrong.
So thank you so much for your understanding.
Which is good, because we've done 2 weeks now in the building. This is exactly why we were doing 2 weeks in the building, to be able to test all the equipment, to iron out any issues, and also to make sure everything's recording and doing smoothly, so that it's in a document, so that we can recruit some more people for the tech.
Yeah.
Now, don't let that put you off, because by the time you're recruited to the tech team, all of these things will be ironed out.
Smooth as silk.
I mean, even the camera turning around was me on Sunday, so, you know, if I can do it, anyone can do it. But anyway, we'll talk to you more about that when we get back in the building, which we are this Sunday.
Yes.
So we are going to have it ticketed again, Eventbrite. It will be with this email or on the website. You need to book your tickets, please, and bring a mask. There's only, or a mask if you're down here. There is a limited
That's
number.
The English language, mate. Mask. All right.
There is a limited number for our COVID risk assessment. But please bring a mask, please. Keep distance from people. At the end of the service, you're not allowed to go chat to people. You've got to get 2 meters apart, and then you've got to leave. You're not allowed to sing in the service, but don't let that put you off.
You're not allowed to breathe. You're not allowed to move. You've got to sit. It sounds real fun, doesn't it? But tell you what, it is better.
But we'll be together.
It's better to be together. I know you're aware of all these rules and the situation that we're in at the moment, and we've got to be righteous and we've got to do it all correctly.
Yeah, we've got to do it correct.
But let's not let the perceived limitations stop us from doing what we all want to do, and that is get together. So please, as many
and
of
it
you...
will be live worship in the church. And of course it will, for those of you who can't get a ticket, it will be live streamed. So come along. Please don't let that put you off. Being together, seeing each other in the flesh would be amazing. That would be fantastic. It's Easter
please,
Sunday as well.
And go for a ticket. Don't kind of think, I better not buy one.
Stop being one of those Christian people.
No,
get a ticket.
If I get one, someone else can't. Well, let's just do this and we'll work out. I'd rather have too many people, and then we can sort something out for next time, so on and so forth. But get together.
There won't be anything for the children because we can't be doing that at a social distance at the minute. So bear in mind, it's not child friendly then, and they do have to sit with you. If you bring children, they have to sit with you. They can't wander around the hall because of the 2 meters rule. So
it's not child
there
friendly,
you go.
But it's not child hostile either.
No. We love kids. Right, Dave, what have you got for us today?
Well, it was just a little thought, really, that struck me when I was reading. And in Psalm 94, verse 19, this kind of jumped out at me, really. It says, "When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy." I had a look in the AV, the old authorised version, the King James version, translated in 16 something or other. And it said, "In the multitude of my thoughts within me, thy comforts delight my soul."
Thy comforts
delight me. And it just seems to me that at the moment, one of the big topics is like mental health, like anxiety. And there's some very real reasons why people are anxious right now. I mean, there's been a lot of anxiety about catching COVID, about finances, about
Job
jobs,
security,
all that
not
stuff.
seeing family and friends.
And it just hit me really that there's a recognition here of whoever wrote this psalm. It doesn't actually say at the top of mine who it was, whether it was David or not, but there's a recognition here that anxiety happens.
Yeah.
We're all people. We're all people who are real and don't always get it right and are prone to worrying sometimes and anxieties. And it just hit me there that anxiety, he said, when anxiety was great within me. And I thought, do you know what? That's where the anxiety is. It's within us.
Mm-hmm.
It's in here. It's in our heads. It's in our minds, and it affects our bodies. And our, anxieties can cause us all sorts of problems physically.
Mm-hmm.
When people get anxious and worried, it can bring out physical things like rashes or stuff, upset stomachs, and all sorts of things,
headaches
like that. And it is such a current topic that the Bible recognises as something very real and something within. It's affected by things that are without very often, like situations. I already mentioned jobs, finances, relational breakdowns, stresses, all sorts of things. University students not getting their kind of proper teaching because they've been stuck in their rooms. The young people doing GCSEs and A-levels that aren't doing exams and all that stuff. All that stuff brings anxiety and wonder, how's this going to affect me? How's this going to affect my future? And those anxieties, they add up and try and wear us down. The other thing is experiences can cause anxieties. There's when tough times come, or when situations happen, or we experience things that are kind of traumatic, it can have an effect on us. There's an account in Genesis of where Jacob, it says he wrestled with the Lord. And Jacob needed to be kind of sorted out in his attitudes because God was preparing him for something greater. And God's presence, there was a physical manifestation that wrestled with Jacob. And there's a wonderful picture there of how sometimes we wrestle with God. And he always wins, by the way. He's stronger than we are. But he wouldn't let go of God until he blessed him, God's presence until he blessed him. And so God touched his hip and his ball joint came out. That's terrific, isn't it? And his hip was affected. And from that time onwards, Jacob had a limp. And that limp always reminded him of that encounter. And it was traumatic for him, as well as kind of life-changing. And do you know what? When we have anxieties, they're very often like a limp that have come from an experience that we've had in the past that make us vulnerable. I know someone who finds it very, very difficult to make phone calls. I know that particular person had traumatic experiences, and phone calls represented a real challenge to them. I have to admit that sometimes anxieties hit me. I've had experiences in my life that might surprise you if I tell you that I've had anxieties, I've had mental problems, challenges, from experiences, and it's almost given me a limp sometimes. And being honest with you, I sometimes feel like I'm more vulnerable about things now than before those experiences came in my life. On the other hand, I think in some ways I'm stronger now because I've seen God's faithfulness in all that. So sometimes those things can make us vulnerable, and they can cause anxieties. The personal effects of that can be very, very real. But one of the things I wanted to say is this, that anxieties can come from the multitude of our thoughts. That's how the old version put it. In the multitude of my thoughts within me. Do you know, one of the things, first thing I want to leave with you is pray about things more than think about things.
Yeah, good.
Because what you're actually doing when you pray about things, you're putting it out there to him.
You're involving God in the conversation.
You're involving him instead of wrapping it up in your head. And you know, you ever wake up in the early hours of the morning, and the problems of your life and the challenges of your life are about 20 times magnified than they are at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it goes round in your head. Take those anxious thoughts to God. Okay, pray about things more than think about things. Good. Because we can do the other way round. But then it talks about God's consolations or his comforts, his help. And these aren't just kind of nice little thoughts to make you feel fuzzy inside. These are spiritual truths that will help us to put our anxieties in the rightful place. God's help, folks, is very real. The Bible tells us that in our weakness, his strength is made perfect. And sometimes the very worst thing we can be is too strong because we don't need God. You know, it's all right, God, I've got this. I can handle this. And God says, no, you're supposed to rely on me. That's the way this works. And our experiences can not only have an adverse effect on us by giving us anxieties, but they can actually build our faith when we've worked through them. And we do have access to spiritual truth that when we apply it to our lives can bring us joy. When anxiety was great within me, the psalmist said, there I was. Your consolation brought me joy.
Yeah.
The anxiety was within, the joy was brought and given to us. So our experiences can help build our faith. And I know you know this so well, many of you, but in Philippians 4, it says, rejoice in the Lord always. I'll say it again, rejoice. And it says in verse 6, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, which doesn't change necessarily the situation, which doesn't change the experiences that we've had. But God's peace, even at 10 o'clock with the clock striking, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus.
Yeah, guard your hearts and
whatever's true,
minds.
Noble, right, pure, lovely. Think about those things and pray about the things that pull you down.
Yeah, good.
And the peace of God will be with you.
Fantastic.
Amen.
Brilliant. That's a good bit of advice. Fantastic. Well done, Dave. So, have a good week. And if you're anxious, remember, pray more than you think. That's good.
All right.
Bye.
That'll do then, won't it?
That's a wrap.
Have a great week, and we'll see you.
See you Sunday.
See you Sunday.
Resurrection Day. Yeah. Awesome.
God bless. Bye.